How do you get money into a Roth IRA? Well, you just contribute, right? Not so fast. There are rules around that, but then there are also exceptions, and there are creative planning ways to get around some of those rules. I've got that and more coming up. My name is Mike Bernard. I am the host of the Wise Money Show. I'm also one of the certified financial planners right here at Korhorn Financial Group. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and smash that thumbs up button. So the Roth IRA is a pretty incredible financial instrument. The contributions that you make into it, the money that goes in, it's not a deduction today, doesn't help you on your taxes today, but those dollars inside your Roth IRA, they grow tax deferred, which means the dividends and capital gains and whatnot, that's not taxable each year, it's tax deferred, it's tax sheltered. But then if you meet certain qualifications, you draw that money out in retirement tax-free. All that growth is tax-free. And because you never deducted your contribution in the first place, you don't have to pay tax on your contribution on the way out. It's unbelievable. I mean, that's the bones of it, but there's a lot of other features that we've talked about in different videos. The Roth IRA is a pretty incredible tool. So let's assume you've done the planning work and you've looked and said, yeah, I need to be contributing to a Roth IRA. I need to start my 5-year clock, okay? Because one of the qualifications to draw the money out, the growth out tax-free, is you've got to be age 59 and a half, and you've had to have a Roth IRA for at least 5 years. The same Roth? No. Consecutive years? No. You just need to have had a Roth for 5 years, or a Roth IRA for 5 years. Makes no sense, but the law is there. All right, so maybe you're looking at this saying, I need this tax deferred and tax-free growth because my situation, I'm young and whatever, and I need this tax-free growth. How can I get money in a Roth? Or two, you say, yeah, I know, and I'm contributing to my Roth 401k, which is not what we're talking about right now. We're talking about the Roth IRA. And I want to start my 5-year clock. How do I get money into a Roth IRA? Well, there's 4 ways, actually. You're probably only thinking of 1, maybe 2. There's 4. All right, the first one's the easy one, and that is, yes, if you're eligible, you could just contribute to a Roth IRA. Number 1, you need to have earnings. You need to be working, okay? Earnings, that's not interest, dividends, it's not a pension, it's not Social Security. You've got to actually have wages, all right? But your contribution limit is $6,000 for this year if you're younger than age 50, and it's $7,000 if you're 50 or older, okay? But here's the problem. You know, that covers most people. So you can look and say, yep, I fit, I'm going to contribute. But there is a limit, and you might be phased out even from contributing to a Roth if you make too much money. Now, I'm not going to go into those specific details here, but for a single filer or head of household, if your adjusted gross income is around $125,000 or above, you're going to be limited, or you're not going to be able to contribute to a Roth IRA directly. For a married couple filing jointly, that's around $195,000. If your adjusted gross income is around $195,000, you're not going to be able to contribute directly to a Roth IRA. And if you married file separately, we did a video about married filing separately a few months ago. Your income needs to be below 10 grand in order to contribute to a Roth. So that means a lot of people aren't going to be eligible. So there you have it. I mean, the first way to get money into a Roth IRA is to contribute, but you've got those limitations there. So how do you get around those limitations? All right, so the second way to get money into a Roth IRA is something that's now been called the backdoor Roth IRA contribution. And what that means is if you're not eligible to contribute directly to a Roth IRA, maybe you're eligible to contribute to an IRA. All right? Anyone can contribute to an IRA. It's just not everyone gets to deduct that contribution. And I'm not going to go into the income limits here, but if you don't have a retirement plan available to you at work and your spouse doesn't have a retirement plan available to you to them at work, you can contribute to an IRA and deduct it. It doesn't matter how much you make. But most of us, if you're making a lot of money, you or your spouse has a 401k, and that means if you contribute to an IRA, you can't have that much earnings and still be able to deduct it. So the backdoor Roth IRA, if I haven't lost you, you contribute to an IRA, you just don't deduct it because either you make too much money, you're not qualified, so you don't deduct your contribution, and then you convert that contribution into a Roth IRA. You see, you're getting money into the Roth IRA through the back door, going to the IRA, and then you convert to the Roth IRA. There is an despite this huge opportunity, there's an enormous pitfall with this. Enormous, okay? And that is, I'll do another video about this because it's very confusing, but there's an IRA aggregation rule, which means if you already have an IRA with pre-tax money in it, and then you put after-tax money into your IRA, you can't just convert that after-tax money. Even though, let's say you've got 10 grand of pre-tax IRA money and you put 5 grand in after tax, you can't just pull that 5 grand out and convert it to the Roth. It pulls proportionate. So you could pull 5 grand out, it's just some of it proportionally will be pre-tax money, and when you make that conversion, it will be taxable. And to me, that's why I typically rule out the backdoor Roth IRA contribution to your Roth if you already have an IRA. If you already have an IRA, for the most part, I wouldn't consider this second option. I wouldn't do the backdoor Roth because you've already got pre-tax money inside of an IRA. Okay, we'll do a whole nother video on that, but that alone might be the reason where you've got to reach out to your certified financial planner who does taxes, who does tax planning, someone like one of our CFPs, and say, all right, how do I figure this out? What should I do? So, all right, that's the second way to get money into a Roth. If you say, I've got to get this money in there, start my 5-year clock, or get this money growing tax-free, the second option, if you're eligible, is to do the backdoor Roth IRA. The third is easy. I mean, the backdoor Roth, that sounds really cool, but the third option, if you say, well, oh yeah, shoot, I actually already have an IRA, and I have pre-tax money in there, so the backdoor Roth doesn't make sense. Well, you could just convert. I mean, that's an easy one. You can just convert. You can just move money from your IRA to your Roth. Now, the problem with that, when you do it, it's taxable. That's a taxable event. Moving from your IRA to your Roth, you're going to have to pay tax on some of that money. It's not penalized, but you're going to have to pay tax on that. You're going to have to include it on your taxable income. You might want to do that if your income's lower, or you think tax rates will be going up, or your income's going to be going up, but just know that that's taxable. What if you say, well, I want to start my 5-year clock, but I'm actually making a lot of money right now, so I don't want to convert a lot, but I've got to get money into my IRA. How can I do that? Well, just convert $50. Just convert $100 from your IRA to your Roth. Now, you've only paid tax on $50 or $100. That's not going to break the bank, and you've got money in a Roth IRA that's now starting your 5-year clock. So, lots of planning opportunities around the Roth conversion. Again, that alone might be the reason you've got to be working with a CFP who does tax planning. All right, but that's the third option. That's the third way to get money into a Roth IRA. It's the fourth way to get money into a Roth IRA. Not Roth 401k or Roth IRA. Well, it's using your 401k. Let me explain. With your 401k, if it allows, now lots of plans allow it, but some don't, okay? You could do pre-tax contribution or Roth contributions to your 401k, and those have the limit, a $19,500 or $26,000 depending on your age. That's the limit. But if your plan allows, you could also do after-tax contributions. Now, why would I want to do after-tax contributions? Only if you've maxed out your pre-tax or Roth 401k contributions. You'd only want to do after-tax contributions after you've maxed that out. But then once you've maxed that out, if your plan allows you to do extra after-tax, you can do that. And then every year, even while you're still working at the company, you can transfer, you can roll over your after-tax 401k contributions directly to your Roth IRA, directly. And most plans allow you to do that at least once. Some I've seen allow you to do it twice. I've seen some where the 401k says, yeah, you can roll your after-tax money to your Roth as frequently as you want. There's no limit on that. That's a big, big, big deal. Know that any growth on that after-tax money, that would be taxable if you move it right to the Roth, but that's a great creative way. If you are otherwise unable to get money into a Roth IRA and really want to, because you want to start your 5-year clock or get some money growing tax-free for you, that after-tax through the 401k is a great option for you. Each of these are creative strategies. Your certified financial planner should be providing clarity and confidence about your overall financial life, where you stand relative to your goals, but they also need to be bringing you creativity. This video is not a substitute for that creativity. These are just showing you the options. Which ones make sense for you? You've got to work with your CFP about that. If you don't have a certified financial planner who understands taxes and does taxes and tax planning, contact a member of my team. You can find us online, wisemoneyshow.com or korhorn.com. That's Korhorn with a K, or give us a call, 574-247-5898. All right, there you have it. Go out and take your next wise step in your financial life.